remember, and your brother Shay remembered that day very well.
Yeah?
It's when Jeffrey Archer addressed the club, and it was a brilliant day. He was a character, really was, you know. I never forget the way he started his speech. He said, when I was 4, I wanted to be 5. And when I was 5, I wanted to be Prime Minister. But he was an interesting guy, and he got on like a house on fire with Shay, because he was a very good athlete in his day, Jeffrey Archer. He was a world-class sprinter, you know. Not a lot of people know that. And of course, your brother, being a bit of a runner himself, they had a great time, you know, discussing all of that. Nice guy.
Who else did you enjoy, Bill? Who else would you would have enjoyed there now over the years? Who would stand out to you?
You couldn't, you know, there's so many, you know, that different reasons. I mean, we had real serious speakers like Lord Longford and Paddy Doyle. That was the first time people knew there was a problem with the religious in Ireland and the abuse of children, you know. That guy had a horrific time. And he wrote a book called The God Squad, you know. Yeah. But then we had light-hearted people, you know, we had the damn organs and all of those, you know. Happy days. Happy days.
Can I just say one thing to you, Bill?
Yeah.
You had one very good friend, and that was who? Bill Tyndall.
Billy
Your
Tyndall,
name.
there he is.
Now.
Yeah, Billy Tyndall there.
Bill and yourself are very good friends, you were.
Ah, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And you certainly enjoyed him.
He was a character.
Wasn't he?
Yeah. He was the original, you know, Babe Magnet. Not in the looks department, he wasn't good, but give him 2 minutes, you know. You have any girl, you know, he's unbelievable.
The medals, Bill.
Yeah, they're all there. The chain's there.
That was some chain, you know that.
It was, yeah.
No, Bill, when did that begin, the Publicity Club?
It began in, would you believe it, Kevin?
Yeah?
This very day, the 5th of December, 1923.
That's interesting. 1923.
This very day, yeah.
And the first president.
In Cleary's.
Yeah, in Cleary's. Who was the very first?
It was one of the Murphy people out of the...
Lombard Murphy, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was what, 1923 to 1924,
right,
yeah.
yeah.
That's interesting, yeah.
Of course, you know, Lombard's a name that not everybody wants. You know why?
Well, go on.
What does it stand for? Lots of money. All right, Dick.
Well, can we move over to the famous board?
Yeah, they're all there.
Yeah, look at that. It's not beautiful, is it?
Yeah.
And where's your name, Bill, on that?
Well, I'm there.
Oh, you're there,
company. I'm sandwiched between Bill Tyndall, we've just discussed, and the irrepressible Frank Fitzpatrick.
Ah, Frank
who
Fitzpatrick.
hailed from your father's part of the world. And, you know, we all had many, many happy days in Frank's house.
That's very
Frank
that's true.
organised golf outing every year. And for the visually impaired children in Butterstown. And usually it was Clontarf, and it raised 3,000–4,000 every year for that charity. It was a great day. And other people involved in that at the time would have been who were the golfers, Bob Fitzsimons, people like that.
Very good. There you go. Go on, you're on.
We went to say, what's 30 years? There you go.
This young lady here. I got the two boys, the two Highlands.
I'm up here and I just saw this gentleman. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. I saw this gentleman sitting here, and you looked like the president from behind.
No.
Oh my God! Not only am I late, but the president was here before me.
No, you look, the last one on the board.
Poor Tom.
I can see that. So, Mr. President, you're very welcome.
I'd like to say a few words.
Mark, former transfer of the Publicity Club of Ireland Archives to Dublin City Library and Archive. Delighted that many past members, you, of the club have been able to join us here tonight. The club was an industry body for advertisers, agencies and publishers established in 1923. Following a meeting at Cleary's, it's in the restaurant at Cleary's, I believe. Its inaugural chairman was Dr. Lambert Murphy of Independent Newspapers. The purpose of the club, as outlined in its constitution, was to bring together those working in the advertising industry in Ireland to enable acquaintance and cooperation and to develop the best in publicity through thought, precept and practice. So quite even at that stage, quite an innovative approach, building a bit of a network that could be used to further the cause. I know there was a Cork and Waterford branch of the club, but I think it was mainly based around Dublin. The club thrived through the 1930s to the 1980s. The programme events included lectures, lunches, an annual Christmas party, very important, group visits, as well as fundraising activities for a variety of charities. Speakers included many national and international faces from business, sports, culture and politics. And in 1981 the club inaugurated the annual Albert Price Communications Award. And among the worthy list of recipients are included Bob Geldof, Gabe Byrne, Maeve Binchy, Maureen Potter, John Hume and Mary Robinson. The themes discussed by the Publicity Club at its events over the past 8 decades after they mirror and frequently preempted the great changes which occurred in this Irish society throughout the 20th century, from the challenge of television to print media, the role of women in the workplace and the internet. While the club was an integral part of the publicity industry up until the late 80s, it struggled in the last few decades, particularly in winning new recruits, due mainly to major changes in media and the media scene and the media environment in Ireland. The board decided to wind the club up in 2009. While it's undoubtedly sad to see the end of such a club, which had formed such a great part and an integral part of the publicity industry, I want to praise the vision of the board of the club in their decision to bring the archives and to donate them to the City Library and Archive. And the city has a great set of archives here across many sectors and many areas, and we're delighted to be receiving the archives at the Publicity Club, and I think it's a great home for the archives and they will be well looked after. Particularly I want to thank Bill McHugh and Frank McGarn for their work in preparing the records for transfer. Records being donated to the library and archives relate mainly to the later era of the club's history, through press cuttings, minutes of meetings and correspondence. I would warmly encourage anybody here present who holds additional records related to that club to consider giving them to us, adding them to the archives, so that we have, that we preserve as comprehensive a record of the club's history as possible. Two of the most noteworthy items being donated are on display here today: the chain of office of the chairman and the roll of honour board listing all chairmen of the club. I'm sure I hope the chain of office does not outshine my chain here today. We'll have a look at it, hopefully. Both items have a colourful history. The honour board disappeared after one Christmas lunch. There's Christmas lunch again. And subsequently discovered in a sale of work of antique furniture beside the Pro Cathedral. Didn't happen to the chain, I hope. Similarly, an earlier version of the chain of office was stolen a number of years ago and had to be replaced. So transferring the records and the memorabilia to the City Library and Archive ensures that they will be safeguarded and protected there and from such threats in the future. As custodians of the material, I'm certain City archivists and the libraries will take care of the collection. The facilities at Dublin City Library and Archive include strong rooms which have been designed to the highest archiving standard. Once the collection is listed to international cataloguing standard, it will be made available online, and researchers will be able to get to the archive in the reading room upstairs, which has 100 spaces, giving everybody an opportunity to examine the archives and see what was in those records under optimum conditions. So, preserving the Publicity Club archive not only documents the history of the club, of which many of you are members, and the individuals who participated in it, but also the events it sponsored, and more broadly the evolution of the social, cultural and business arenas that allowed that club to flourish in the 20th century. This social history microcosm will be of interest to many future generations of researchers and will complement the other private collections, like the Dublin Fusiliers, held at Dublin City Archives, alongside the official records of Dublin City Council. So the Publicity Club of Ireland Archive is undoubtedly a very valuable addition to our city, and I am delighted to formally accept us here tonight. Thank you very much.
Know that I would account to be true brother of a company, and that company was the Publicity Club of Ireland. It was founded on this very day, 5th of December 1923, and continued with a short break between the wars until it was wound up in 2009, the year the state lost its sovereignty through insolvency. Insolvency was never on the agenda of the Publicity Club of Ireland. Thanks to the wise counsel of presidents like Bobby Gann, Colin Cronin, and Chris Kane, who is presently International President of the Chartered Institute of Secretaries and Administrators. Through their efforts, supported by responsible council members and thrifty treasurers like Michael Hayes and Neville Galloway, the club had a surplus of some 20,000 euros at the end of the day. Our members, with the selfless generosity that we'd come to expect, unanimously voted to donate the sum to various charities, and we did so under the chairmanship of Tom Conley. The club did the state some service with its various functions. As the Lord Mayor already mentioned, our Communications Award was presented to John Hume and Bob Geldof, to name but two of a long list of distinguished Irish men and women. And its monthly lunches provided a platform for stars of the stage and screen, politicians, and most of all writers. The recently departed Con Houlihan and Maeve Binchy, who added so much to the gaiety of the nation and will be sadly missed, were both guest speakers. I think that I speak for most members when I say that the club provided me with many happy days and nights. Indeed, they often blurred into one another during our legendary Christmas lunches and helped to forge many lifelong friendships. As the poet rightly said, from quiet homes and humble beginnings out to the undiscovered end, there's nothing worth the wear of money but laughter and the love of friends. We're indebted to Dublin City Council, the Dublin City Archivist Dr. Mary Clark, and her very able Senior Archivist Ellen Murphy in securing a fitting repository for the club's memorabilia. On the club's side, we have to thank the steering committee of Leo Blennerhassett, Neville Galloway, Shay Hyland and Frank McGowan. Independent newspapers in the Irish Times have also to be thanked for the support, not only on this occasion, but all down the years, as did the Irish press in its day. May I call on you now to express your appreciation of these good people in the time-honoured way. Don't put your hands away. We haven't finished with you yet, as the Christian brothers used to say. The Lord Mayor, Councillor Naoise O'Murra, has graciously consented to present a small token of our esteem for our long-serving and long-suffering Honorary Secretary, Mr. Frank McGowan.
If you want. You're okay, Tommy, right?
I know the feeling.
Jeez, the feeling would be young.
I present you with my chain.
I'm already warm.
I'm not going to do that.
very much. I'll just say one or two words. It's a total surprise to me.
One or two.
And I wasn't expecting anything like this. But just to go back and Bill and our colleagues about the famous times we had with the club over the years. Just keep you here for most of the night. I'm sure the Lord Mayor has other things to do than listen to me. But at least it would give them something to think about afterwards and all the different characters that we came across. In recent years, yeah, things got tough. And people will now sort of look back, people around, and think of the great old days when you went to lunch and you never came back to the office. And it was wonderful times and lovely people. Great friendships have been built over the years, and myself and our colleagues, and we still meet occasionally and we enjoy ourselves and we reminisce over the old days and everything like that.
Go on, Bishy. Say hello. Happy Christmas. Come on, Betty. Come on, Betty. James?
We have Bill to sing this Scottish song.
Bill, I want a first verse up. You know what? Come on, I love that. The national anthem. Come on, come on, come on.
The lens, Bill. No. What'll I do?
Da-dum-a-do-a-do-a-do, da-dum-a-do-a-daddy-o, da-dum-a-do-a-do-a-do, the day we gang to Rossio.
The first verse of I love that. The national anthem.
Oh, I love the national anthem.
I love that. It's got it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Oh, flowerless garden, where will we see your lights again? That fought and died for your wee but in Glen and stood against him. Proud Ed was army and sent him home.
We're actually here presently in the, I don't remember the name or not, but a very fine place here, and there are lovely people here. And I'd like to sort of say that we're having a good time. Now, those of my friends around here, we're having guidance.
Where are you from, by the way?
I'm from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. Something like that. Pennsylvania.
Where are you from again, young man? Where are you from?
A pawn shop round the corner in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Next one.
I'm gonna dime.